Was a Roman god really put on an American coin? Surely not. Oh my. Maybe so. Welcome back to the channel that is dedicated to helping you in your quest for collecting silver coins. Today we are releasing this video in conjunction with Wasatch Wizard as both of us take on the Mercury dime. We will see where we agree and disagree, and hope you will check both videos out as we contemplate on a classic and grow in our journey together. Before we dive deeper, make sure you check out hobbysilver.com in order to get up to date on all the things I think about silver but don't say on YouTube. As tradition, before we rank this coin, we need to get into what we are looking at and why or why not you should think about getting one of these. We start today with the idea that many have on this being the face of the Roman god Mercury, or the Greek equivalent, Hermes. In doing my research, I found many references and flat-out displays of pagan gods at play in many of our nation's buildings. The most notable one is probably this. This is called the Apotheosis of Washington, and it is a fresco viewable when you look up at the rotunda of the Capitol building. We see so many symbolic representations of ancient Roman life. Here we have Minerva, the goddess of science, leading what looks to be Benjamin Franklin and Sam Morse of the Morse code. I'm not sure who the others are. We also see Neptune with Venus laying the transatlantic cable with the help of an ironclad ship in the background. Moving on, we see one of the focuses of today's video, Mercury, who is a god of commerce. Make sure you take a look at his hat. We're coming back to that shortly. Next, we see Vulcan working at the forge, creating many of the iron goods of this time. We also see Ceres, the goddess of agriculture in full form. All of these scenes are surrounding the literal piece de resistance, George Washington, who is representing a Zeus-like figure in a way, surrounded by 13 maidens which represent the 13 original states. This title, apotheosis, is translated to rising of a person to the rank of god, which I find kind of interesting seeing as the artist was Greek and Italian in descent and actually worked at the Vatican for 3 years. So we see that Roman gods have been at play in the artistry of our nation. As we look at this dime, do we once again see the display of deities of old? My research actually indicates no. This is a coin struck from 1916 to 1945, whereas the artwork we just referenced was commissioned and finished at the end of the Civil War, 1865. It is plausible that one inspired the other, but further reading kind of rules this out. The designer of this coin, Adolf Weinmann, selected the wife of a friend to model the face after, so there was not any Mercury artwork that led to the face. The reason I find this called Mercury dime has to do more with this hat. We have what's called a Phrygian cap adorning the head of what is actually supposed to be a liberty figure. There are wings on this Phrygian cap, which led to this liberty coin being a flying liberty. This cap has been synonymous with liberty going back to ancient times. Don't believe me? Take a look at some of these world emblems. You see something that looks familiar? This winged cap, in my opinion, was every reason why this coin was called a Mercury dime. Weinmann, who worked with Barber and Morgan, the fellows who created the Morgan dollar and the Barber coins, won the contest of design for this coin, whose resemblance you can see in his 1909 statue of Victory in Baltimore. All of this being said, I think we have a case-closed argument that proves our Mercury dime is not a depiction of ancient Roman deities, but rather a misguided nickname that stuck. Now that we have all this sorted out, we can move to the coin for ranking. On the front of the coin, once again, we are met by this really cool image of the Winged Liberty. I have always wanted a coin like this, and I'm so delighted that Wasatch Wizard decided to send me one. This coin is minted 1945, which to me is the best year for this coin because what better to mark liberty than having it on the same year as the end of the Second World War. This is a classic design that is balanced and bold. On a coin this size, you do not want to overcrowd or add too much texture because it will be overly busy. This coin is just right and think it deserves a 10. On the back, we have the classic fasces, which is a bundle of sticks, in this case surrounding an axe, which symbolizes a badge of authority. This is actually the most Roman part of this coin, as these were used in Roman times to show authority. It is adorned with a traditional olive branch and standard wordage. This is a well done reverse overall, but it's not over the top. I think it just scores an 8. Now for mintage. This is a standard currency piece of a large government body. Though there are far less today than there were when it was struck, their numbers are still well over 1 million, so unfortunately it has to score a 1. When it comes to cultural significance, we have 2 arguments. If you believe this is Mercury, you have a reason to score it low, as that god was long gone before the founding of this nation. If you've done your research and know that this is a winged liberty, and the images on the back are still used today on dimes, you know that this is hard to say that it does not deserve a 10. I, knowing now, like all of you, that this is a winged liberty, must score it a 10. Now we talk collectability. It is hard to say that this is not desirable to collectors. The problem is that the silver content is 90% rather than 3 or 4 9s, like we're used to, but the size is so easy to collect in bulk. It is government issued so that those who stack out of fear of inflation are well advised to have these on hand, and standard collectors have historical provenance to point to. This is a coin where everyone wins, so it scores a 10. Our last area to look is uniqueness. It is a dime, and dimes are a dime a dozen. I get that. I cannot say that this is the most unique piece I've ever held, but I will say as government-issued currency, it has its own uniqueness, so I scored a 7. All of this being said, our little winged liberty scores a very high 47 out of 60, and the only detraction is mintage, which in this setting is good for you because that means you can still grab a fistful of these to add to your stack. This is a delightful coin and has been a pleasure bringing it to you. Until next time, please remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.